Welcome back to another episode in the Cards franchise series. Your host Sammy33. In this one, we're going to be looking at a home series, short 3-game trip. That's it. Just headed back home to face the Marlins before we go back out on the road later today for a big litmus test in facing the Atlanta Braves with that hot offense. So we take 2 out of 3 against Miami. The last one, a little bit of a rough one. Kim, not his best outing this season, but hey, let's take a look and see how things turned out. And we catch a break early. Don't care, take it. So a double play kind of kills the rally there, but they can't turn it. So the bases end up loaded. Paul DeYoung. Not the prettiest way to score a run, but ultimately gets the job done. 1-0, take advantage of the error.
Not everything has to be pretty. It's just about the results. A walk.
And that holds. Flaherty holds it until the 8th.
You're going to run, right?
Yeah.
Finally, a legit run scored in this game. I don't feel so dirty now.
So Edman, RBI triple.
Close enough.
And that makes it 2-0. They add a run. And there you go. 3-0. Jack, 7 innings, 2 strikeouts, 6-0 pitch well too. But no offense. Going into game 2, so we have some rain early on. This is in the 3rd inning. Deciding what to do. Both teams leave their starters in.
Bueller started today. Yep.
And into the 5th. So 1-0 game. Edman again.
Drop. Yes.
Single to center. Lead
There we go.
2-0 St. Louis. And heartbreak. So into the 8th. Borderline pitch. Not called for Miles Michaelis. Next pitch. A drive. And it drops. And the perfect game bid.
Strike 3.
With 7 2/3. The 2nd time this season he loses a no-hit, in this case a perfect game bid in the 8th inning. But 4 runs by the Cardinals, Goldie with a solo shot, Arenado with a solo shot. And the Cardinals take the 2nd game. Going into the finale, there is your league leader in ERA. Gotta add that. 69 innings pitched. Convenient. Sub 1 whip. So how would he fare against the Marlins?
1-0 Miami.
Not a good start. Early run.
Oh. We'll have to play from behind. Let's see if we can do it.
So,
For Tyler Webb.
Aguilar, for the 2nd time this season, a home run off of Kim. Something about the Marlins and Kim don't mesh.
Okay. As a kid.
So you can see, rough outing for Kim, 6 runs, but the Cardinals start to fight back. 6-1, a shot into the corner.
Young.
6-2.
6-2. PG-ish at all. I thought that was great. So someone brought that up.
Later in the 5th, Benito Pena, the rookie, goes opposite field, drives in another run. 6-4.
Bret Hart.
So 2-run game.
And then matches he had, damn it. In WCW too. Or WCCW.
And yeah, 7-4. The Marlins would add 2 more. 9-4 game. Lots of hits, but they're productive with theirs. You can see the home runs. Cooper, Dickerson, Aguilar, and then John Berge with a home run and 2 doubles. Marlins avoid the sweep. Gonna head out to LA for some action. Bases loaded for Kurt Suzuki. Already up 1-0. And he's going to shoot one into the pen. Grand slam. Carlos Martinez, you're welcome. 5 runs in the first. Suzuki's 6th home run of the season on Trout's day off. 5-0. And they would win 6-4. Detroit would make a comeback. Just couldn't get over the hump. Johnny Scope, the BR legend, and Cabrera both with hits. Castro, a triple and a single. We're going to take a little bit of a long look here. We're going to head to New York and check out the Mets and Cubs. I say long look because we're going to look in the Cubs after this game. So a hit and run, and McNeil, who's not had the greatest season so far, is able to cash in. Shoots one into left in the alley. 2-0. Metropolitan. And just like that, Mills, a rough start. Later, 4-0. David Bodie up with 2 outs, a runner on second base. The pitch from Cookie, 4-0 lead, and he's able to shoot one. Just like McNeil, shoot one to opposite field, a double, and it drives in a run. 4-1 Mets. But the Cubs trying to make some inroads here. We go to the 9th. Runner on third. Horner up to bat. Hit would drive in the run. And he's going to pop one up. So pops it up in front of home. Easy catch. And the series is split 2-2. So the Cubs win the middle 2. The Mets win the start and the end. See, Peterson gets the win. But what we're going to do now is take a look at the Cubs and see what's going on. Well, this is going to be an interesting look here because we've been asked and just kind of curious. The Cubs have been struggling this season. And the question is why? What ails the Chicago Cubs? So I wanted to take a look into the statistics to see if we can piece together why they're having issues. The first one is this. Chris Bryant injured. Wilson Contreras injured. That's 2 of your better bats you can see. Good contact and power. On the year, 246, 5 home runs, 11 runs batted in, but injuries. Bryant, obviously we know his splits against lefties. I'm sure he'll be a diamond shortly. Batting .317 or .386, but only 27 games played. The injuries have really crippled this team. They've got some production from other players to help ease it a little bit, but if we look at the standings here, these guys are in 4th place. It's tough to imagine. Like, this is not a bad team. It's not a badly put together team, but they're struggling. As it sits right now, they're 12 games back out of the wild card, and Contreras and Bryant are still going to be out for a while. Just imagine if this was if we had where you had to have rehab assignments to get these guys ready, they practically would be out of the running. So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's look at the stats and see what's going on with these Cubs. All right. So taking a look at your Cubs in this year. 1, franchise. We've got Chris Bryant obviously injured, and he has been, up until getting hurt, one of their most productive batters. So Higgins replacing Contreras, 294. Austin Romine, 252. So they're trying to replace his production, but you can see combined in 41 games, you have 6 runs batted in and 1 home run. They're getting on base. Romine especially. He's obviously had more play time, but it's just not the same. They've had Cameron Maben starting out there in center. Had Hat playing in the outfield. Maben hasn't been terrible in the time that he's played, or he's getting play time. I think Hap's still starting actually, but 252 they're just lacking. Baez, 245. I faced him in 2 series. In both series, he struggled, but he does have 14 home runs. Jock's been big. Obviously, you're not going to get the average with him, but he's going to be a guy that hits a lot of home runs because potential, 30, somewhere between 30 and 36 home runs. And so far in the year, he's got 15, so that's not bad. He's going to get those extra base hits, 8 doubles, only 34 strikeouts. It's actually pretty impressive. For 177 at bats, only 34. Given how it's been for him in the past, it's not bad. Kind of curious to see how it splits against lefties. Let's take a look at that one. Because that's his weakness. Usually they take him out. Look at that, only 16.7. That's not bad. Against lefties, batting 171, yeah. But he does have 8 home infield. That's at home, actually. 0 home runs against lefties. Can't say I'm surprised by that. Look at that. 5 runs batted in against lefties. They're just lacking. Marisnik, 205, in a sizable amount of at-bats. Dave, 214, even though he's got me a couple times, so I know that he's no bum. Hayward, 228. Some of these guys are underperforming, so you get it. It's a lot of pressure on the pitching staff, and they're just not scoring enough runs. Hendricks, a 3.5 ERA, 1.09 whip. Davies, surprisingly, 1.03, better. ERA is a little bit higher, but then you have Mills with 5.15. Winkler's not too bad. He's been it's been weird how they've been using. I've seen them use him as a starter and coming out the pen during the course of the year. You have Arrieta, 6.51. He's been primarily used out the pen. Looking at their team rankings just to kind of see. Batting average, you can see they're 23rd, so we're still bad. We're 30th, so we're still dead last. But they, 23rd. Not helping matters. Runs scored, we're 26th, but again, elite pitching has helped us out. They're 21st, so they're moving towards the middle of the pack. Home runs, I assume they're middle of the pack, but actually higher, 9th. So when they get on base, when they get hits, they hit it hard. They just have a really hard time getting hits. And then stolen bases, I imagine they're probably in the middle of the pack, somewhere 17th close. Base on balls, how much are you helping yourself out? 13th, so a big help there. Strikeouts, we're last. Tied though, so we're making progress. They're 25th. A lot of strikeouts again. Something I harp on a lot. It's not so much the outs that hurt, it's how you get the outs. You have to be able to get on base. Strikeouts, one of the worst things that can happen, and it's very rare to have situations where it's beneficial. But 23rd in on base percentage. Looking at pitching, just general numbers, 28th in ERA. So offense has been bad in terms of production, and the ERA is bad too. Worst of both worlds, and the most blown saves. It's rough here in Chicago. Though when you're blowing Kimball too, don't tell Cubs fan about this. If you've been in, this is a bad situation to be in. So you're giving up a lot of runs as a team. You're blowing saves. Okay, that makes it tough. So when you do have the lead, you can't trust the bullpen. But then offensively, okay, we can hit home runs, cool. But we have a hard time getting on base because we can't get hits. We get walks, we get on base that way, but we just can't get on base enough in terms of hits to be able to put ourselves in situations those home runs can help us out more. We'll see how things look for the Cubs going forward, but as it stands right now, 4th place in the division, they're just trying to find their way back to 500. And we're looking at the trade market. We've been alluding to it for a bit. So we've been keeping an eye on the market, though I have not necessarily shown it in the videos. So we are in the market to get a 5th starter. And there is a little bit of a problem here as things stand now. On this list, you have Carlos Rodon, who this is his final year arbitration. He will be an outright free agent. 76 overall, no bum. Obviously, someone that I think you can build with. The fastball is a slider and a change. He is a lefty, so give me a second lefty in the rotation. Because remember, Hudson will be back next season, so that fills one spot. But there's a good chance that Waino retires, so that frees up a spot, and Rodon can slide right into that. I don't think Matt is ready to take that role just yet. Still needs some work with him. And we have some other aging, older vets that we can wait on Matt for another season or two for sure. Really, there's only one other option here, and that's Marcus Stroman. So again, the same thing with him, his contract. He'll be a free agent at the end of the season, but he makes so much money. We have to find a way to match the salary. Is it worth it to kick the tires on that? He's got a good pitching repertoire, but for how much money he makes, it's not necessarily worth it in my opinion. I think that Rodon is the move here. We've already missed out on Montgomery. I would feel terrible missing out on another guy. Looking at Rodon here, so you see stamina, hit per 9, K per 9. Not masterful, but he can go deep into games. I like this pitch selection. I think he's someone that could work for us. So looking at the budget, now that we actually have made some money, swapping is fine. They would like an outfielder, so looking at their roster, they've got good starting pitching. Even taking him out, he's their fourth starter. Would he develop? Sure. They have Lynn and Keiko who are older. I don't know if they re-sign those guys. Not sure what they plan on doing. It is someone for them to build with, but he's on the market. They're looking to move him. We may have to kick the tires on this. But the problem is they have decent things. They have a decent bullpen. The closer situation is fine. Obviously catching is fine. Abreu at first. Nick at second. Moncada at third. Anderson short. Eloy, Robert, and Eden. So they're not really lacking for anything. If anything, they'd be looking for prospects. So, what do we have to offer them? Let's look. Initially, my thought was Lane Thomas, because I don't think he's going to be in our long-term future. I'm not really ready to give up on Tyler O'Neill, but Will Lorenz has made Thomas expendable. O'Neill, not just yet. I think there's still some things we can do there. So he's young. He's B potential. He's a 70 overall. If you look at their outfield, you've got Engel, who's 29. Eden, who's older. So if they look to replace him, Thomas is a guy that maybe slides in there. Or Engel can slide over and play there. So they'd have an option there. So I'll start with that. And definitely want to give them something else. I feel like it may be too easy to trade with the computer at times, and we talk about that in stream. I don't want to make this super easy, easy. I don't want to try to take advantage of the computer. I want to try to make a reasonable trade, which I think is fair for both sides. We're going to go back to the bullpen. Our bullpen is better than theirs. I like to see if I can give them someone that they can build with. Elledge, B potential. I don't see him in our long-term plans. He's a righty. He's got a 2-seam and a 4-seam and a slider. Not terrible, but he's B potential, and it's at least someone that they can build with. Cabrera will be in my long-term plans as a lefty, so I don't want to move him. And Cody, I think, also will be in our long-term plans as well, along with Zach Thompson. So I'm going to go with Elledge. I think this is about as reasonable as a trade that I can make. I'm giving them a relief pitcher that can grow when they have a bullpen that is still trying to develop. I give them an outfielder that could replace Eden in the future. Eden's older, is last year of his deal. And you still have control over Thomas for the foreseeable future, because you're looking at his contract right now. Renewed for a couple more seasons in ARB, so someone that they could potentially build with long term. He just doesn't fit in our plans, especially with Lorenz popping up. We offer bag seller. So Carlos Rodon, welcome to the squad. And now that we have Rodon, what do we do next? I think this is what we're going to do. Looking at the starting pitching, Rodon obviously is going to be on the roster. we're going to drop down Jake. The question was, are we dropping Jake or are we dropping Ponce? And here's my reasoning for it. So a 7 ERA, 60 overall. He's shown up in some games. Not He's just not great, putting it nicely. While Ponce, he's got decent stamina, so he can still go for a bit in relief. He can be a long-term or long reliever in terms of, a spot start for a handful of innings and we go bullpen-wise. His ERA isn't bad. It's just we can't rely on him as a starter because then that game turns into a bullpen game. He's giving us 3, maybe 4 innings at best. If we get in the 5, it's because we're being hyper aggressive attacking the mound. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop Jake, move him down to AAA, and when we go here, heading out, going to the rotation, we're going to slide in Rodon. Or I thought I was. There we go. So Ponce becomes a long-term reliever, or your long relief pitcher if you want to be technical. Rodon slots in here. Ultimately, I would put him 4 over Wainwright, but just not to mess with the rotation any. We're going to put him in the 5 spot for now, and also we'll spread out our lefties. So if we face a team that has, a righty-heavy lineup, at least they're spread out. So Rodon, welcome to the St. Louis Cardinals. All right, so now we're really excited about this Braves series. So coming into this series, it looks fun. We're going to have a matchup against one of the best teams in the National League, one of the better lineups. Marcell Ozuna has been swinging a very hot bat this season. MVP candidate the way he started out. And we're going to test our mettle on the road. So we get Waino against Morton. Our new addition, Carlos Rodon, will face off against Ian Anderson, Smiley, and Jack. And then the best matchup of the series, Miles Michaelis, who has been one of our best pitchers twice now. He has carried a perfect game bid into the 8th inning on the season. He will face off against Mike. Miss him IRL, a greatly talented pitcher. I'm looking forward to this series to see how things turn out for us, especially with the Dodgers. We took one game and we were in the other 2, but we couldn't find a way to win. So let's see what we do in Atlanta. Today, we're going to play a lot of baseball. I definitely will get through this Atlanta series. I expect to get through the Tigers series as well. So that's 6 games, means for a lot of recapping. But I'm really excited to get back out there now. We've got another pitcher. I think this is a big addition that will help us get over the hump. That 5th game has always been an issue in, as you're throwing out the pitchers. The 5th game is always tough because I have to be mindful of the bullpen going into it. And then Jack has extra pressure to pitch well coming out. So let's see how things turn out. Make sure though that you sub to the YouTube channel here so you can be notified when the next episode drops. You're definitely going to want to see because we'll be looking at Rodon's start. And then we'll see how we do against the Tigers as well. Hopefully we can get those bats going and get a series win, at least against the Braves. A split would make me happy. And then we got the Tigers and Pirates, so definitely try to finish off the month well. That said, thanks for watching. I will see you on the Twitch side. Have a good Thursday.